Okay, so Flame University has started its admission process for this year for 25 admissions. First round has already been done, which is called the early round. तो ये early round हो गया है, उसके interviews अभी on है as we speak. So they have also released a sample paper to give you an idea, to give students an idea कि किस type के questions आपको paper में मिलेंगे. Right. So here I will be discussing that sample paper, and it will probably help you to practice those types of questions more. And we also have our own sample papers which you can then later on attempt. Right. So we will start our discussion on the actual official sample paper that is released by Flame University on their website. So they have already given the answers in that paper. Probably you have seen that paper. So they have already given the answers. So I will explain how do we get to that answer, right? So we'll start with question one. The first section in this sample paper is LR. So LR has both type of reasoning, that is critical reasoning as well as normal logical reasoning. So the first question is from critical reasoning. So I will take this ink. First question says, undertaking broader advertising and redesigning the workflow for greater efficiency are two strategies available for buy cheap supermarket, right? For increasing its profits of all its retail stores. So there is a lot of information in first sentence. There is a chain, buy cheap supermarkets, and they have multiple stores clearly, and they want to increase their profits in all those stores. So to do that, they have come up with two strategies. First is undertaking broader advertising. So first is advertising, and second is redesigning the whole workflow, right? So redesigning the workflow means their processes, their uh, their processes and their workers, right? So they have to redesign the workflow or advertising. So these are the two strategies with which they assume or they think that their profits can increase on all their stores. Okay, so these are the true strategies. Now that is done. Now the next step is that they have to decide which of the two strategies should we go with. We should opt for one, or we can go for both of them, right? So 9 should talk about that. Broader advertising will increase the profits more than the workflow redesign. So when they compare between these two strategies, they must have compared with many other strategies as well, but finally they have come up with these two. Now between these two as well, they think that broader advertising will increase their profits more, right? So because of this reason, therefore, by spending more on advertising, buy cheap will be doing the most that can be done to increase its profits. So of course, one analysis says that advertising will help more increasing the profits as compared to redesign. So they should go for advertising, and obviously advertising is something on which we have to spend. Workflow redesign or process redesign is not a costly process, or not that costly a process at least. So they conclude that we have to go with advertising only, right? So that is the premise. So premise is two strategies, A and B. Then next premise is A is better than B, right? So the conclusion is go with A, right? So that is the conclusion, go with A. So the question, what is the question here? Question is, which of the following is an assumption on which the conclusion above is based? Right. So these are the two premises, these are the two conditions, and on these two they have come up with this conclusion. So there must be something missing, right? So whenever there is a question of assumption, there must be something missing. If that comes between the premise and the conclusion, it will make full sense, right? So that missing part we have to identify. What was that because of which they had to come to this conclusion? So अभी ऐसा कुछ लग रहा है कि there is something missing. Although A is better than B, but why do we have to go only with A? Why not both? Because both of them are good strategies. So why not a combination of both? That may be a reason. So if they have come up with this conclusion that we will go only with A, so chances are that they must have considered the combination of both strategies and they found कि वो भी अच्छा नहीं है. That combination will also not work to that extent कि हमारे profits उतने increase हो पाए. Only single strategy of advertising, that is the best one. It will increase our profits the most. So that could be an assumption which is not stated in this paragraph, and that is why it is an assumption. But if that is there, then only this conclusion makes complete sense. Otherwise, there is a question lingering on that why not both the strategies, a combination of both the strategies, right? So let us find out the answer for this. Redesigning the workflow will not be more expensive than broader advertising. So they are not talking about the expense of the two strategies. They just want to increase their profit. So option A cannot be the assumption. Aside from sales, in its retail store, Buy Cheap Supermarket does not undertake any other activity that contributes to profits. So we are not talking about any other activities that contributes to profit. We only have to talk about these two strategies, right? We don't have to talk about the activities that happen in their stores. So B does not make sense. C, Buy Cheap Supermarket can use different types of advertisements, some of which are more effective than others. So this is not the assumption because of which they have made this conclusion. They have made this uh, they have come up to this conclusion, right? So they cannot assume that if we go with advertising we will be able to create different types of advertisements, so we should go for advertising. So that cannot be a deciding factor, right? So C also doesn't make sense. So obviously if A, B, C all are wrong, then D is the only remaining answer. And if we read, the profit of Buy Cheap Supermarket will not increase more by using a combination of both the strategies. So that we have discussed here. If after these two they have come up with this conclusion, that means the combination must have been discussed and rejected. Then only they can come up with this conclusion, right? So the answer is obviously D. But why is it D? That we have discussed. So let us come to the next question. So it is a question from visual reasoning. It says find the missing figure which follows the same pattern and mark it as the answer. So there are 9 cells and in each cell we have 2 circles and an arrow, right? Arrow is always upward oriented and there are 2 circles are there, right? So the circles as well as the arrow all are moving. So let us first talk about the circles. So first circle, it goes here half step ahead, and the second circle goes half step down. So they are at these two positions. Then in third cell, this circle goes half step ahead towards right, and this circle goes half step below. So they are at these two positions. Then in the next circle, this circle goes next cell, this circle goes half step towards left, and this goes half step below. So they are at these two positions, right? So in next cell, it goes here and it goes here. So they are at these two. So this follows, right? So in the last cell, we can directly say that this will go here and this will go here. So these two circles have to be at these two positions, right? So in the last cell, the two circles have to be near the top edge, both of them. So that is in option A, that is also in option F and option C. So these three can be the answers. E, D and D, they cannot be the answers, right? So how do we decide which is the correct answer out of these three now? For that, we will have to follow the arrow. So I will remove these symbols. Now let us talk about the arrow. Let us focus on the arrow. So arrow is pointing upward in all the cells. So that direction of arrow will not matter. So what will matter is the position of the arrow. So arrow was in the middle, then it goes towards the left. So it shifts half step towards left. And then here it is on the right edge. So that means it goes one step to the right. So we can say minus half plus 1. That is the movement, right? Minus half means if it is going towards left, so that I have written minus, and if it is going towards right, so that I have written plus, right? So now we can say this arrow, it goes to half step towards right. So plus half, and then half, then it is there where it was, right? So it does not make sense. So what we can think is, or what I thought is, if I do the same thing, if it goes half step towards left, that means minus half. So it will go outside this box. Outside this box means it will come back into this box from this edge. So you can assume that there is another box here. So if this arrow goes outside this box, it will go into this box here. So that box has been placed here, right? So that is how we can think of it. So the arrow goes minus half, and from here, if it goes plus half, so plus half means it has to go one step ahead. So it will go outside this box, and into this box it will be at half position. So from here to here it will be plus half, plus 1, sorry, it will be plus 1, right? So that is how we can say that minus half plus 1 and minus half plus 1 both are there. Then we come to the third row. From this point to this point, we can clearly say it is the movement of minus half. Then from this point to, it has to go plus half. Minus half and then plus half. Sorry, plus 1. So it has to go plus 1. So from here it goes one step ahead. So it will cross the box. So it will go into this box. So the arrow has to be in the center. So the answer cannot be A, answer cannot be F, it has to be C. So the correct answer for second question is C. So with this we'll come to the next question, question 3. Find the missing figure which follows the same pattern and mark. So we have to again identify the pattern. So what we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Here we have 1, 2, 3, but in another row, we have 4, 5, 6 in another row, 7, 8, 9 are in the same row. Again, we have 1, 2, 3 in the same row, 4, 5, 6 and 7, 8, 9, they have interchanged. Right? Okay. So the pattern is in the first grid, it is a huge grid in which we have another grids of 9 cells, right? So in the first grid, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this one row is a single entity, right? This row moves together. We cannot split this row. So this 1, 2, 3, this row goes to this position. So first row shifts to second, and second row shifts to first. 4, 5, 6 goes to first, right? So first and second interchange. First row, R1 and R2, they interchange. So that is the first transition. Then we come from second grid to third grid. So 1, 2, 3 remains where it is. 7, 8, 9 goes there, and 5, 4, 5, 6 comes here. That means R1 and R3, they interchange their positions, right? So that is the pattern in the first row, this one. Let us come to the next row. 7, 8, 9, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3. Here we have 8, 7, 9. So 7, 8, 9, they have changed their positions. In the first row, the position, relative position of 1, 2, 3 did not change. But here 7, 8, 9 becomes 8, 7, 9. 4, 5, 6 becomes 5, 4, 6. 1, 2, 3 becomes 2, 1, 3. That means it is not working. The uh, row is not working here. So what we can think of is the columns 741, 852, 963. 741, 852, 963. These columns are not changing, right? So all the components in a column, they do not change their relative positions, although the columns do change their relative positions among themselves. But three components of a column, they do not change their relative positions. So that means here the transitions are happening between columns. So first column is 741, second column is 852. So 852 comes to this point and 741 goes there. So, and 963 remains where it is. 963 remains where it is. That means column 1 and column 2, they interchange their position. Right? Then we come to the second and third. Here, 741 and 741, they are there. They do not change their position. So, column 2 does not change their position. Column 3 comes here, 963, and column 1 comes there, 852. That means C1 and C3, they interchange their position. So now we have the pattern more or less. In first set, it was row that was being interchanged, R1, R2 and then R1, R3. In second set, it was the column that was being interchanged, C1 and C2 and then C1, C3. So the numbers are same, row, column, and if one is row, second is column, then third has to be row. That is the only pattern that can be followed here. So now if we need to find this, so we have clear that R, the row will be followed and R1 will interchange with R2 and then in second case R1 will interchange. This pattern will follow. So R1 is 987, 987 will come to this position, that has come, and 654 goes to this position, that has gone. Right? Now this interchange should take place, R1 and R3, that means 987, this middle row will be where it is. 654, the first row comes to the third position, and 321, the third row comes to the first position. So that is the answer. 321, 987, 651. So 654, sorry. So answer is A. Right? So the answer is A. So that was question 3. That brings us to next question, question 4. So industrialist colon, that means this statement is made by an industrialist. The increasing demand of energy for energy has made us depend more and more on fossil fuels, okay, which cannot be replenished. So it is a generic statement. Energy demand has been increasing. Because of that, the dependence on fossil fuels has been increasing, and fossil fuels cannot be replenished. Once they are gone, they are gone. This adds to the release of greenhouse gases that adversely affect the environment, resulting in global warming. So, more usage of fossil fuels adds to the release of greenhouse gases, that we all know that. So, till now, there is nothing that has been said by this industrialist, which is of significance. Next line. Why is impractical to seek to reduce energy consumption? So the industrialist started with as if he is a big environmentalist, then he suddenly becomes an industrialist. While it is practical to seek to reduce energy consumption, we can develop technologies that depend on renewable sources and those that release minimum greenhouse gases. Right? So industrialist agrees that increasing energy demand is causing global warming. Right? Via. But then he says that we cannot expect to reduce the energy demand because we are industrialists. We have to run our industries. We have to expand our industries. We will need more and more energy. Right? So you cannot you cannot expect us to reduce our energy consumption. वो हम नहीं करेंगे. Right? So what can be done is we can develop, we means we as a society, not that industrialist, we can develop technologies that depend on renewable sources and those that release minimum greenhouse gases. तो ऐसी दो टेक्नोलॉजीज की बात कर रहे हैं, ऐसे रिन्यूएबल सोर्सेज यूज करें और ग्रीन हाउस गैसेज रिलीज करें, राइट? सो वी कैन develop such technologies. So that is the suggestion that is made by the industrialists in the last line, right? Now the question is, which of the following can be concluded from the information given? So industrialists suggest कि energy consumption cannot be expected, it is impractical. आप नई technologies develop करिए, right? So which of the following can be concluded? So let us read the answers. Preserving the remaining non-renewable sources is likely to protect the environment from further damage. So he never spoke about preserving the remaining non-renewable sources. Means the industrialists never said that we will not use coal anymore, we will not use petrol anymore, right? He just said that developed technologies तब तक वो develop होती है, तब तक we will continue to use these things and we will continue to increase our energy demand also, right? Second, utilization of renewable sources for energy production is more cost effective than using conventional sources of energy. Cost effectiveness also was not discussed, so we cannot conclude that this statement is correct. He never spoke about cost effectiveness, that we will not use new technologies or renewable sources because they are costly. He never said that, right? He just said that give us technologies, we will adapt. Probably he will adapt, but he just said that give us new technologies, right? So cost effectiveness is not mentioned anywhere, so we will not take B as an answer. Most of the energy utilization can be shifted to renewable energy sources without a major shift in technologies. So this is again not connected with the statement of the industrialist. He never said this, right? Most of the energy utilization can be shifted to renewables. ऐसा उसने कभी बोला नहीं. In fact, he is demanding a new technology which uses renewable sources, right? But C statement suggests that the technology is there, you just have to shift to that. So that is wrong. D. Environmental degradation could be largely contained without significantly decreasing energy consumption. Okay. So D. Environmental degradation could be largely contained without significantly decreasing energy consumption. So we can say, so all A, B, C are wrong. That means we can say that D is correct. Fine. Or we can say that this is the more or less essence of his statement, that you should not decrease the energy consumption, but we can still control the degradation of the environment. You just have to come up with new technologies which are mentioned in this last line. So according to the industrialist, whichever industrialist is this, we can still control the environmental degradation without giving up on energy consumption, right? So which is there in option D. Okay. So let us come to the next question. Three friends of different age and height stand in a queue for a photograph. The photographer asks the youngest to stand to the right of Anu. So, okay. So we don't know where is Anu, so we will start from somewhere else. The tallest stand in the extreme left. So let us say these are the three positions, right? This is the extreme left position. If I'm standing like this is the extreme left. So here we have the tallest person, right? We don't know the name of that person, but we know that the person standing at this position is tallest. Bhanu does not stand in the center and he is not the youngest. So Bhanu is not in the center and he is not the youngest. So Bhanu must be either here or here. Charu is not in the center also. So Bhanu and Charu both are not in the center. So Bhanu and Charu, there are only three friends. So Bhanu and Charu, they must be on the two extremes. right? All are facing the photographer. Now, the photographer asks the youngest to stand to the right of Anu. So youngest, who can be the youngest? That means if Bhanu and Charu are not in the center, that means Anu has to be in the center. And the youngest person is on the right of Anu. So right of Anu is here. So here we have the youngest person. Now who is not the youngest? Bhanu does not stand in the center and he is not the youngest. So Bhanu is not the youngest. That means Charu has to be the youngest person. Right? So we can say Charu has to be here and Bhanu has to be here. So Bhanu, Anu and Charu, they are at these positions. Now, no person receives the same rank when put in the increasing order of both age and height. So youngest means this person is the least in age and tallest means this person is the most in height. So if age and height both are put in the increasing order, nobody will get the same rank. That means single person is not the youngest and the shortest, single person is not the tallest and the eldest, right? Now, so if Charu is youngest, Charu is not the shortest, right? So the question is, now who is the shortest? So of course, when Bhanu is tallest, he cannot be the shortest. When Charu is youngest, he cannot be the shortest because not a single person can be youngest and shortest. So the shortest person can only be Anu. So the answer is Anu. Here, the option is C, that means Charu, but according to me, that is wrong. Answer has to be A. Right? So that is option 5. That is question 5. Let us come to question 6 then. German silver is a type of alloy in which a silver compound is found in an ordinary silver ore. German silver is a clever innovation of greedy industry owners. So German silver is a clever innovation, right? In which they fleece the innocent buyer. Okay. So the innocent buyer does not know probably what is German silver and what is actual silver, and they get cheated. So which of the following statements below, if true, would explain the reason why industry owners would fleece the innocent buyer without being caught? So if it is known that a cheating has been going on and still the cheater is not being caught, so there are not many reasons behind it. The one reason can be the person or the organization that will catch him, the government. If the government is favoring him, or we can say the law is favoring him, right? One of the two reasons. If there are not any laws which are against that kind of crime, or if there are laws, the government is not strong enough that it can implement those laws strongly, right? So these can be the two reasons. वन, द लॉ ही नहीं है, अब वो जो क्राइम कर रहे हैं उसके अगेंस्ट. दूसरा, लॉ तो है बट वो लॉ इंप्लीमेंट हो स्ट्रांगली, उसके लिए गवर्नमेंट इज नॉट स्ट्रांग इनफ. So these can be the two reasons. So let us see. Government Control Bureau of Standard does not provide strict norms for the purity of the metal. So as we just discussed that probably the laws are not there. So if there are no laws, that means they can easily fleece the customer. So this seems to be the correct answer. Let us read further. The areas that experience such sale of German silver have the maximum industries and silver ore mines. So this does not make sense. So the areas which have more silver ore mines, there the cheater will go scot free. This does not make sense. Finding out the silver content in German silver is a very cumbersome process and costlier than extracting silver from an ordinary silver ore. Again, this is not making sense. The greedy industry owners maintain a very good PR activity. PR activity cannot save them from getting caught, right? So all of them are wrong. So the correct answer is C. So next section is verbal ability. We will discuss this section in a separate video. Now I will go directly to the next section, which is quantitative ability. The ratio of children going for a picnic to the ratio of children not going is 8 to 3. If the total number of children were 55, out of which 3 who were not going earlier are now ready to go, what is the new ratio? So if out of 55 children, the division was 8 by 3, so the number of children who are going, that would be 8 by 11 into 55, and that will be 40. So the number of children not going, this will be 15. So number of children going for the picnic is 40 and number of children not going is 15. Then something happens and 3 who were not going earlier are now going. So 3 persons from this group go to this group. So this group is now 43 strong and this group is now 12. So the new numbers are 43 and 12 and their ratio will be 43 by 12. So this is the question 1. On a certain day, it rains for 20 minutes in the morning, 2 hours in the evening, and 3 hours 40 minutes in the night. What is the ratio of time for which it rained to the time it did not rain? So 20 minutes, total rain time is 20 minutes, 3 hour 40 minutes. So this 20 and this 3 hour 40 minutes is total 4 hours and then 2 more hours, so 6 hours. So 6 hours is the rain time. So remaining 18 hours is non-rain time. So the ratio of 6 and 18 is 1 by 3. So the answer is A. A train travels 8 km in the first quarter of an hour, means first 15 minutes, 6 km in the second quarter and 31 km in the third hour. What is the average speed of the train per hour? So this train traveled 8 km, 6 km and 31 km. That means 45 km in 45 minutes. Right? First 15 minutes, first quarter, second quarter, and third quarter. So in 45 minutes, the train traveled 45 kilometers, 31 plus 6 plus 18. So what is the speed per hour? This becomes 60 kilometer in 60 minutes, which is 60 kilometer per hour. If 45 kilometer in 45 minutes, that means 1 kilometer in 1 minute. So 60 kilometer in 60 minutes, that means 60 kilometer per hour. Right? So that is question 3. So that is general knowledge. So I will skip that part. So I have discussed the questions on logical reasoning, critical reasoning, and quantitative aptitude. I hope that will help. But I should also tell you that the level of question in the actual exam is slightly higher than this that has been given in this sample paper. These questions in QA were really very easy. So you cannot expect such easy questions in the actual exam, right? Thanks a lot.